Hi, I'm Mark Huirua. Welcome to my video Mathematical Proof that God Exists Part 11. In the video series we've provided mathematical findings and evidence, a whole bunch of coincidences that could be randomly related. This whole thing could be random coincidence, but the chances of that seems to be very, very slim. Therefore we need to find a credible hypothesis or framework to explain the mathematical findings. Of course, we're investigating the question, if a divine mind existed, how would we know? So the framework that we've been discussing is an oldie but a goodie. It is 2,000 years old, and that's one of the things I like about the framework, because it seems to me that if a divine mind did exist and wished to be discovered, it would want to do so with people living across all ages, and therefore we would expect to find elements of this framework showing up in ancient manuscripts and being documented. That's exactly what we do find, going back 100 years, 500 years, 1500 years, and even 2500 years. So in this video we're going to focus a little bit more on this aspect of the framework, the unique number pattern. And in the earlier videos we've presented 7 unique numbers and shown that these unique numbers are repeated in these 2 ideas. Now that shows 2 things. We're suggesting that numbers, if not thoughts, at least offer a glimpse into thoughts. So 7 unique numbers we're suggesting would offer a glimpse into a unique thinker, and we're identifying the unique thinker, of course, with our divine mind. Now the next thing is the numbers being repeated across 2 different human ideas then suggests the coexistence of a divine mind with human minds, and therefore the coexistence with our own thoughts. In this video we're going to look at a second example of that. We're going to show another 2 unique numbers being repeated across the same 2 ideas. Before we do so though, it's interesting that both the Bible and the A4 paper we saw seem to be symbols of both word and light. And why that's interesting is a divine mind articulated into word or numbers. It's the numbers that have done a fantastic job of explaining nature. This is a more simpler view of our concept. But 2,500 years ago, in the book of Genesis, the author seemed to suggest, divine mind, that the first words ever spoken simultaneously came with light, such that words and light, again symbolizing the same thing. And those words of course were, God said, "Let there be light," and there were light. So did these all occur simultaneously in the mind of the author of Genesis? And that's an interesting one, where word equals light, or word and light, essentially the same thing. So let there be light. Of course you can find these words in Genesis chapter 1 verse 3. Let there be light, in quotes here, indicating spoken word, and there was light, a physical reality, or a reality of a non-physical thing. After all, still very much an enigma as to what word and light both actually are in terms of their fundamental properties, characteristics. Of course we have laws around light, the laws of physics, we have laws of grammar, but very difficult to actually say what light actually is. But the Bible as word and light, very aptly illustrated in this picture. sort of light blasting through the Bible. Of course, key verse in the Bible coming from Psalms 119 verse 130. The unfolding of your words gives light. It gives understanding to the simple. So words and light, are they the same thing? Again, your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. That verse coming from Psalm 119 as well. So let's move on to look at our two unique numbers. So how is the Bible structured? Our two unique numbers relate to the structure of the structuring of both the Bible and the A4 paper series. Well, like any good book, it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. There are in fact 1189 chapters in the whole Bible. The Bible, though, does have a split between Old and New Testaments. Of course, that split coming somewhere around here, such that we find 260 chapters in the New Testament. There's also 581 chapters from beginning to middle. Now, if you take the end of the Bible and wrap it around or fold it around to touch the beginning, so let's say you read through the Bible in a year, you come to the end and then you want to start reading again, right? You'd find that you'll be reading 260 chapters in the New Testament and then 581 chapters to get to the middle of the Bible. So to cover these key segments in the Bible, a total of 841 chapters. Of course, folding the end to the beginning is of course the process of making a torus. So it's very relevant. It illustrates the recursive process by which, when you reach the end, you find yourself back at a new beginning. Of course, there are 1189 chapters in the Bible. Now, you could read it over 2 years. Some people like to read the Bible over a 1 year cycle. In fact, the Jewish rabbis have a Torah cycle whereby they read their Bible over a year, and when they reach the end, they start at the beginning. So it really is a cycle. But let's say 1189 chapters in the whole Bible. Therefore, the structure of the Bible very much driven by these two numbers. Now, it's interesting when you look at the A4 series of paper. Of course, it's the International Standards 216. Now, we saw 216 earlier on, where there was an interesting symmetry occurring between the Bible and the A4, showing that maybe these are another two unique numbers. But these aren't the numbers I'm looking for today. How is ISO 216 structured? Well, of course, it's structured according to the 1 square meter and the square root of 2 aspect ratio. But essentially, the A0, which is really the high level starting point for the series, and then that then breaks down into the smaller paper sizes. But the A0 is structured with exactly these same two numbers, making these our two unique numbers, 1189 and 841. 1189, 841 both relate to the high level structure of the Bible and the ISO 216, and therefore that's our second example, really, where, because the numbers are unique, it offers a glimpse into a unique thought pattern, therefore suggesting a unique thinker, which we're identifying with the divine mind. Of course, because the numbers are repeated in these two very much human ideas, repeated across two different human minds, then that shows a coexistence of our unique thinker with our own thoughts, and therefore providing a further evidence and support of our framework. So that's it for today. Hey, thanks for joining me today, and if this is of interest, please do check out my next video. Until then, this is Mark out.